really happy with the way the guys came out, had a sense of urgency, and jumped on them early. I thought we played really good defense early, got some strips, forced them into some short fields, and our offense capitalized. And something we had talked about all week is trying to get a great start fast against these guys and hopefully get a big lead to be able to play a lot of guys. And that's what we were able to do the second half. In the second half, we played pretty much all the younger players, which was another good evaluation tool for those guys. So we're heading into conference week now. We're excited to get into conference week. Every week is going to be a grind, and we're just talking about finding a way to win the first one, and then before you go on to anything else. And so we'll focus on going 1-0 this week and have a good Missouri State team coming in. So open up for questions.
Cole look.
Pardon me?
Cole Davis.
Cole Davis will be out of, I would say, at least 4 weeks. We'll find it's a AC separation. The significance of it is probably a little bit more severe because it's his right shoulder.
Henry and then James?
Well, we'll have Henry get ready to play. And you know, that's the benefit of the double reps that we talk about so much. You know, there's not very many third-team quarterbacks that took 100 snaps a day throughout the month of August. That's something that has really helped us. So Henry will be the backup right now. James would be more an emergency guy. James is still going to play defense for us. But you know, even like we put him in for 4 or 5 snaps, he knew everything of our base run and stuff. So we won't have to. I'm not going to wholesale and bring James over by any means. He's helping us too much.
In an emergency situation, would it be James or would it be a redshirt Colt?
Oh, it'd be James.
It's just not only the experience of having Cole as a backup, but now you have to get a new holder and stuff like that. And just talk about some of that.
Yeah, it's a big loss from a couple of reasons. One, obviously, fifth-year senior. You hate to see a fifth-year senior go down for any extended period of time because you know your senior year you gear up for so much, and his ability to help Easton out. His ability to give us a great look, his ability to make the guys feel more comfortable if he was going to go in the game. And then you're right, as holding, you know, I think he'll be able to hold before 4 weeks. That'll be a week-to-week deal. We're not going to hold him this week. But, you know, that will be something, you know, between the docs and stuff that he'll have to discuss when he can do that. The good thing for us is Jackson Kuntz will be the holder, and during practice – your specialist, that's all you do is do stuff like that all day. So Jackson will be sitting there holding for Fish and for Cam all practice.
Does this kind of thing affect at all the type of plays that you would call involving Easton?
No, not at all.
Missouri State, Chris, personnel looks very, very similar to what we saw in the 2 deep last year. New quarterback, obviously. Are they still running the same stuff that they ran before?
Yeah, they are. I really like the quarterback. I think he's thrown the ball well. He ran the ball exceptionally well last week against Illinois State. And so offensively, they're doing a few unique things. I really like the return specialist wide receiver out of the backfield. He's a great player. They get a good running back. Excellent couple wideouts. One Earl that's been there forever. So they have a good scheme on offense. Obviously, you can ask Missouri. They had a really good scheme, you know. So they have the big play capability. And then defensively, they're really active up front. I really been impressed with their defensive line as a whole, as a group. You know, they really caused us some fits last year because they don't just stay straight ahead. They're going to slant, angle, have a lot of line games, and so we really have to do a great job communicating.
With Plank out, would that be Bo Poly up after Marlette?
Depends. You know, if it's more condensed formations, yes. If it's more spread out formations, and Levi last week played the other Mike position because Chris is interchangeable.
I'm pleased with you to see Jabril play like he did, especially on special teams, to maybe earn him some more reps during the game.
Yeah, that really helped us a bunch, and he played well on defense. It allows us to get Chris inside some. So now you have Chris, Dan, and Levi. If it's an 11 personnel or 3 wide receiver game, so those 3 guys could play all inside. They all are interchangeable parts. And then obviously Chris can still play outside, but now it gives us the flexibility to put Jabril in there a little bit more, which he's earned some of those reps because of his play. And the game's starting to slow down for him as well. And you guys can tell once he sees something, boy, he triggers, and it's hard to block that kid.
size that you maybe never had outside of maybe a Nick that makes him different than other linebackers?
Size, length, athleticism. We could never block him last year on scout team, whether it's on scout team defense or running down on kickoff and stuff. He just has a way of getting to the football. Plus, he's his range and his strength. Very violent, getting off blocks, and that's so important at that position because that position's a space position an awful lot of times anyway. So you're getting blocked by wideouts and tight ends, and it's hard to block him for some of those skill kids.
Greg, got a lot of focus on the defensive end group. Not huge sack totals, but how are those guys grading out?
Really well, and the sack totals probably because we don't have many plays. We had 40 plays on Saturday, so I think the most somebody had was like 12 snaps. But really impressed and pleased with Stanley Jones playing a really high level, both Tuskas. Caleb Butler did a nice job. Logan McCormick came in and made some plays, and Logan's starting to feel more comfortable. So we're rotating those 5 guys in. I hope we play 40 snaps a game every game. We're gonna have a lot of fresh guys, but really pleased as a group with those guys.
How much does it mean to some of these younger guys, the backups, to be able to hold on to that shutout throughout the entire game?
Well, they were getting heckled a lot from the sideline. You need to be able to hang on to the shutout, and it was really important. The defense takes a lot of pride if you can shut an opponent out, and so no, we were challenging those guys every time they came off that you got to preserve it, you have to preserve it, and it wasn't coming from the coaches, it was coming from their peers, and those are great reps. Those are ones that you guys look and say, well, look at the non-conference schedule. We look at it and say, thank heavens we had Henry Van Dellen get those reps, and James and Marquise Bridges and Dom Davis and Jabril, all those things where in the past, maybe last year those guys wouldn't have had any of those reps, and then all of a sudden if Easton goes down, you have a Henry come in that's never taken a snap other than 1,000 of them in practice. Well, he's taken quite a few now.
Have Marquise pretty firmly over Dom going into conference play?
Well, because of Jackson Brown's injury, we've kind of double-trained Dom at safety and at corner. So that's probably taken some of those snaps away from Dom. I think it's pretty competitive between Dom and Marquise. Marquise would only be ahead of him right now because Dom missed almost 3 weeks of fall camp with a groin injury. He's back healthy. We're double training him because of the injury we had to Jackson. But Dom Davis is still going to play a lot of football for us as the season continues.
Look at the offensive line depth chart, and there's 9-man, North Dakota 9-man guys all over. Is that just coincidence, or is there a reason, or are there type of players that translate to the way you guys play?
Well, you find a bunch of linemen in western North Dakota, and that's an area that Coach Hedberg does a phenomenal job recruiting, and those kids love to come here. It takes them a while to transition, but so impressed with those guys of their work ethic. A lot of them grew up on farms in rural areas, and those guys have unbelievable attention to detail. They're development guys that bleed green and gold. They want to be Bison their whole life, and I've been so impressed with the development of those guys, and it's just, I think it's a North Dakota type kid.
You're surprised some of them at such a younger Volson, some of these guys as redshirt freshman, sophomore, have been contributing already?
Well, thankfully, we've had the opportunity to play some of those guys, and I've been impressed with all those, from Volson to Schoening to Kubas. Those guys are getting a good amount of reps. They're not quite probably ready to beat out a Zach or a Colin Connor, but if somebody goes down, or are they a guy that you can win a game with? I think so. That's what we're trying to make sure that they're ready for. Is that you're not just the mop up guy to get us out of a game like we've had a couple of them this year, but those reps are so valuable that somebody's going to turn an ankle and miss a half of a Crucial Valley game. It could be this week, and I think being in the line of fire in a game where you're communicating and it's coming at you really fast, that's done nothing but help those guys' confidence.
It's gotten noticeably better, or was this always going to happen if he got more snaps?
Well, I don't know if anybody thought he was going to get 4 touches and 4 touchdowns, but he's gotten noticeably better because he's had more reps too. He and Bruce take most of the reps with the ones. And I've been impressed with Lance ever since he was here as a redshirt freshman or true freshman, because we knew he had breakaway speed. You know, he's a 100-meter guy, but he's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger. He has a tremendous vision and a tremendous first jump cut step, and that's the thing that people don't think he's fast, and all of a sudden he gets out there and nobody catches him. But I've just been impressed with his vision and his patience in the hole.
What makes Valley play a little bit different from non-conference play, would you say?
Our league's so tough. Everybody knows each other so well. There's no surprises. You're not saying, boy, I don't know what this team's going to be or what they do. Everybody looks at Valley play. We look at every opponent in the wintertime, whether it's our game we had against them or a game that is maybe a like opponent, so that we can continue to kind of build our library, so to speak, on a team, just like everybody does on the Bison. I think that's what makes it so unique is our league. I have tremendous amount of respect. We have great coaches in this league. There's tremendous talent in this league. We know we're going to knock each other off some. We know we're going to beat each other up, but that's what makes it so fun is it's 8 one-week seasons.
Is there a different feel when it becomes conference season, though, around the offices, in the meetings? Does it feel different?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think practice is a little bit more intense. Meetings maybe go a little bit longer, whether it's staff meetings or player meetings. You know, you're really scrambling to get out there for practice. You're scrambling to finish your cards up and things for scout team. Whereas if it's a non-conference game, you know, you've done some prep work. It's maybe you're not going to show everything. Well, now you put all the cards on the table, and we're gonna do everything we can to win this week, just like we'll do the next X amount of weeks. But absolutely, it's a different feel at practice.
In the office.
Anything else injury-wise coming out of Saturday, and is Ty Brooks expected back?
Well, we're hopeful for Ty. We think we'll have Dallas back. Dallas had an X-ray this afternoon, so we'll learn more about that probably even today. Ty's going to run and cut. He ran yesterday, and that felt good, but now we have to see if he can cut, and we're hopeful that he can. So those two, Dallas and Ty, we hope to have back. We won't have Jackson Brown back. I think he's still a little bit a ways. I don't believe Nick will be back. He hasn't practiced yet. So those guys are just in their, quote, run progression with our trainers.
Chris, I know power has kind of been the bread and butter, obviously, over the years, but it seems like inside and outside zone have worked so well this year. Is there a reason specifically why that has been so effective?
Well, people are, I think, really keen in on our power, and you have to have the ability to do both. And we've run a little what we call G scheme, which is more of a gap control outside run. We've run a little bit of counter. The more things that you can do, the more you have to prepare for against us. And that's one thing that I think Lance does a really good job is seeing the inside zone and being able to cut it back off the shelf. Same as Bruce, he does a good job of that as well. But make no mistake, if it's 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, a lot of times you're going to see power and go behind those guys and see if we can get that 1.5 yards.
That catch out of Brock, is that something that you've been waiting for a while? That only scored on Saturday. That is something else you can use in your offense going forward.
With Robbins, yeah, absolutely, because he's so good on the power play of kicking out the defensive end or logging the defensive end. The defense comes in and spills it. And so you have to be ready to take him on. And then I think sometimes people don't realize how quick and how fast he is to the flat. And he out-leverages somebody pretty quickly. And then he has really good hands. And then he took it upfield. I wish he would have gotten the end zone. He was close. But that's something, yes, we have seen that you're going to continue to see more of. And I think he'll be closer to 100%. I think he was about 80, 90% on Saturday, but his foot felt better and better, and once again, he didn't play maybe more than 50 snaps, so I'm hoping that extra day will get him a little bit more healthy this week.
Missouri State put up 35 in the first half against Missouri, gets shut out against UND. What's kind of the difference between those two? What's the key to stopping it?
Well, you got to be gap sound. Missouri gave up some big plays by just falling out of a gap, and they have guys that Missouri State has guys that can take it the distance, and we saw that watching the Missouri tape. I thought UND did a really good job of holding their gaps. I thought same thing with Illinois State, although they got a couple of big plays against Illinois State when you fall out of gaps, it's a lot of option offensive stuff. So if you're running the option, you got to have a quarterback player, dive player, pitch player. If you have somebody that kind of loses his eyes, which you're going to tend to have happen, and you don't have the extra catch player behind it, you're going to give up a big play. And you saw that against I saw it against Missouri, and I definitely saw it even against Illinois State. The first two plays against Illinois State, they take it 70 yards or something in 2 plays because they just lost their eyes. And if you don't have your eyes trained against this option offense, you're gonna pay.
Western opened up your eyes this weekend on what they did?
I'm happy for Charlie. Charlie's a great man and is doing it the right way at Western, and happy for him. I've got a friend on that staff, and big win for those guys. And they're always a good program. I coach there. I know how tough the kids are. I know how resilient the program is. They're going to be a force, and happy for Charlie. He's done it the right way and great man.
Easton's play through the first couple of weeks.
I thought he's played really well. He threw a couple of exceptional balls. He threw one on our sideline to Shep on a 3rd and 7 or 8 when they brought some pressure, and these guys brought a lot of pressure. And then I thought the throw he threw to RJ was big time from one hash to the opposite sideline. Obviously, it was in the red zone, but that was a rope, and the corner kind of sat on her flat route, and I think the safety thought there's no way this kid's going to throw it from opposite hash to the corner of the end zone, and he threw a rope there. So Easton's throwing the ball well. He's seeing the field exceptionally well, and he's doing a great job getting us in the right plays.
He's doing this year that he didn't do the first couple of years.
The fact that he's a junior and he's 1 year more mature and 1 year more understanding our system. He's that same type of guy. You're 4th year in your system now, 4th year in the program. You take Easton to Dan Marlette to Levi to whoever else, Jalen Allison. You get into that 4th year, the game really slows down for you, and you have the ability to really shine if you prepare each week to be at your best.